You can watch SeemsGoodMagic.com team members live stream at www.twitch.tv/Inez27. If you enjoy our videos, you can support us by going to SeemsGoodMagic.com, clicking on eBay store, and purchasing some singles or playsets. Thanks and enjoy.
Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here with another 8-4 Gatecrash draft. Rare is Realm Right, not really considering that. I think we're really just going to be picking Arrows of Justice most likely, but I really would like to get the Drakewing Krasis. This card is really strong. The dilemma with first picking the Krasis is that it devotes you to 2 colors right away, whereas if you pick the Arrows of Justice, you're really not committing to anything. You could be either Boros, you can be a Gruul, you can be Ortsoff. So you get 3 different guilds when you pick the Arrows of Justice. I'd rather be in Simic, so that would be a motivator to pick the Drakewing here. But if Simic is cut, this pick will be a waste, whereas if I end up in any of those 3 guilds, the Arrows of Justice will be really good. Challenging. I'm going to pick the Arrows of Justice just because it leaves me more open. Alright. This pack has Disciple, which is good with Gruul. Halberdiers is really good in Boros. Agoraphobia is good blue card. Sprite is a good blue card. Oozeflux is cool in the Simic deck. I think we probably just take the Halberdiers. It's a 2-drop. Pretty strong 2-drop. Okay. So choices here, we have Scorchwalker. There's also Madcap Skills, Martial Glory. Martial Glory is a good trick. Madcap Skills is just really good in general. I do like the combat trick, Martial Glory, quite a bit. I like Madcap Skills a lot too. It's a tough pick. This guy will probably wheel, and I'll probably play him if he does. Madcap. I guess it's good in Gruul as well if I end up not playing the Halberdiers or go 3 color or something. I think there's enough potential upside to Martial Glory where I want to take it. It's a pretty powerful trick. Alright, so here we can go Keyrune, Griffin, Pulpit, Skinbrand. I'm usually pretty big on 2-drops, especially if you're going to be in a battalion color combination. Assault Griffin is a really good card too, though. I think we're going to take the 2-drop. Makes a little more sense to me if we're in Boros. I mean, I might just want the evasiveness, but Skinbrand's pretty good, so I think we'll take it. Alright. Now we have Aerial Maneuver, Bomber Corps, Court Street Denizen that we're really considering. I like Aerial Maneuver quite a bit. I don't really like Bomber Corps all that much. Court Street Denizen is fine. I think Aerial Maneuver is probably the best. Pretty much when you're playing, if you want to play a cheap aggressive Boros deck, I recommend having a lot of cheap tricks. So you can always swing in and just trick when necessary, when they have a good block. Alright, wow. Some really powerful Boros cards passed to us. We only have 2 creatures, so I really would like to take the Legionnaire, but I don't feel comfortable passing a Boros Charm. So I'm going to take that. It's also uncommon. Don't see it quite as much. Alright, we can take the Transport. I think we just take the Scorchwalker. It's a pretty lackluster creature, but it also has potential trick, so it's probably fine. Bomber Corps is okay. I mean, I don't really like this card, but if you're short on creatures, it's certainly a playable card. I'm comfortable with the Righteous Charge here over the Armored Transport. Hopefully pick up some more Boros cards in the next couple packs here. Alright, we can take the Goblin, which I don't really like. We could also take the Massive Raid. We are short on creatures, and I did have this guy pay off for me before. I mean, he gets your battalion online a little bit faster, which is cool. He's pretty weak creature, though. I think I'd rather have the Massive Raid. We're pretty trick heavy. We did table the Commandos, which is fine. He's totally playable. And the Key Rune, too. Cool. So we're a little bit short on creatures. If we can't get enough cheap creatures, I'd probably rather move into a more mid to late game strategy. Basically, I'm going to try my best to make aggro work, but in order to do that, I'm going to need a ton more 2 and 3 drop creatures. Because I have all the tricks I probably need at this point. I got them all out of pack 1. But if I can get a lot of 2 and 3 drop creatures, I should be able to make the aggro Boros work. But if not, I probably need some more 5 and 6 drops like Towering Thunderfist and other stuff. Alright, Court Street Denizen was actually a pretty good wheel. We already have a Halberdier, and we're definitely in white. Court Street's not the best Denizen by any means, but certainly is useful sometimes. Alright, pack 2 here. So, we can do the Boros Elite. Urbis Protector's stronger, but it's an in-game card, and I still, at this point, based on what I already have with all these really cheap tricks, I'd rather have the cheap creatures. Stomping Ground is worth some tickets. If it's worth like 4, I'll probably take it, because I could possibly play it too, but we'll see. Wait, buying Stomping Grounds at 5.75? Alright, sorry, that's ridiculous. That's way too many tickets. Okay. Pick here, really not that much for us. 2 really good Simic cards. Decent Gruul card, decent Gruul card. I could splash for the Gruul Charm. I mean, the ability creatures without flying can't block is useful. Killing creatures with flying is useful, especially considering I don't even have any yet. Angelic Edict is definitely removal. I don't like it as much in this style of deck because it's just a little bit slow, but it is removal. So maybe we want to pick it over the splash. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Massive Raid's removal too, but I think Edict's probably just better. Massive Raid is fine though. It's early enough where I could pick up a second one. I mean, I'm still all in aggro here, so maybe it makes more sense. Alright, now I'm definitely taking the Ember Beast over the Martial Glory and the Fortress Cyclops. Cyclops is good, but I think the rule of thumb with aggro Boros, if you can get a 2 and 3 drop creature, a good playable one, pick it up. Ember Beast certainly is. Okay. I think we probably do Knight of Obligation here. Not the best attacker. Could also just take the Founder Street Denizen. Just don't like that card very much, but considering how trick heavy we are, it might be justified. I think Knight of Obligation is just too good to pass up here. Also another Ooze Flux, worthy of noting. And another Angelic Edict, which is good, but we need creatures. And I mean, Knight is a phenomenal creature, but it's just so much better in the Ortzoff decks, because it doesn't really get in for a ton of damage on its own. At least till late. This is a phenomenal card, so we're going to take the Shank Tail over the Act of Treason. Really strong card. Obviously a Gruul card, but definitely playable in Boros. A third Massive Raid when we're low on creatures seems unnecessary. I guess we'll take another Commandos. More Massive Raids? I feel like I'm good with 2 at the moment. Alright, I think we take the Night Watch. Alright, Guardian of the Gateless is a super strong card, so I'm going to take that over the Denizen. Happily. Well, when you have this many 5-drops, I guess the Key Runes become a little more playable. Take another 5-drop. Looks like white is open. And more 5-drops, alright. So it looks like our strategy has changed. Did not quite get enough early to support that strategy, so it looks like we're going to be doing more of the Mana Rock rampy Boros where we kill them with our late game, which isn't necessarily the worst or the best. We're in a pretty good position to shift into a more late game one because we have the double key rune and we have a decent amount of early game. Massive raid looks a lot worse now. We could just, I mean, it's probably unnecessary. I guess we just take the Scorchwalker. So we're a little bit short on creatures. We're still trick heavy. Wow. No good first pick for us in here. Actually, 0 good first picks for us, surprisingly. Guess we could take the Guildmage. Really not that good on the splash. Could take the Edict, but certainly good on 5 drops. Could take the Guard. Works horrendously bad with Ember Beast. I guess it blocks with Ember Beast. It does tap something down with Denizen. Unfortunately, it has absolutely no interaction with Battalion, which we have a fair amount of. I'm not really sure. I think we're just going to take the Guard. Sadly, it's not a strong first pick for us by any means. 5-alarm fire. I mean, it's either that or a second Bomber Core, which does not sound very appealing to me, so I guess we'll give this card a try. Looks like we already need to make some cuts. Probably the massive raids. They look pretty bad in this deck. Most of our creatures are coming out of the late game. Okay, we can take another Ember Beast here over the Key Rune. Let's cut the massive raids for now, maybe. Maybe we cut the guards first. Cut our first pick from this pack. Wow, foil Nightveil Spectre. It's pretty cool. Just super getting cut, huh? Just super getting cut. I really didn't get any mana fixing. I'm just in no position to shift colors here. Sadly. I guess I take the Cyclops. I'm not really sure on that one. I can take mini Ember Beasts. That's actually pretty good. And we'll take the Cinder Elemental for sure. That's a good finisher. Rewards us for the rocks. Alright, guess we could take another aerial maneuver. Probably don't want to play Scorchwalkers. Just don't really like them all that much. Well, we got the Assault Griffin. That's pretty good. Could also take the Skinbrand Goblin. I think the Skinbrand Goblins are going to be better for us only because we have hardly any 2-drop creatures and we have 3 Ember Beasts. So we really need to maximize the amount of creatures we can do early, especially if we want to make these massive raids work and all these tricks. The Assault Griffin would be really good in here, and I wish I could make it work, but I don't think I can. Just not a ton of picks in general, I guess. Mortal Servitude. I really don't have enough cheap creatures to ever be able to effectively play that spell. I guess it's a sideboard card, though, against the mill deck, maybe. This late, Balustrade Spy. It's pretty impressive. Alright, I mean, we got enough playables. I just need to decide how I'm best going to make this deck come together. Because I do see some problems with it already, but let's put in everything that I think we should consider. And that'll give me a better idea of how I'm ultimately going to make it. Alright, so this is like all of our potential playable cards here. It's 33, so we have a lot of cuts to make. 20 creatures. I mean, maybe we can... I guess we theoretically could dump the... Let me separate this out here. Dump the late game strategy. We may have gotten enough early creatures to make this deck potentially playable. Possibly. Don't want the Tiger. Possibly don't want the Denizen. Probably don't want the Guards. If I were to play my 5-drops, it would probably be... Well, the question is, do I like Cyclops more than I like Commandos? I'm not actually convinced that I do like Cyclops more than Commandos, in all honesty. I mean, they certainly attack better, but they don't even really attack better. They attack at 6-3. This thing attacks at 4-6 with Battalion. This thing always attacks at 6-3. That's like debatable which one of those is better. Clearly the Guardian's staying in. I think we'll probably still run the Edict, but maybe not. Let's probably cut the Night Watch, maybe. I guess it works well with the Massive Raid. So maybe, let's cut the Cyclops. I'd rather run the Commandos, I think. I guess these do attack better on an empty board. And I guess I have aerial maneuver. Alright, I guess the Cyclops make more sense. So let's take those out. Maybe we don't need the key runes. We're running a lot less 5-drops than I originally thought, I think. So maybe we cut the Night Watch here. I should really run 17 lands. This is a mana sink. I have a fair amount of 5-drops. I guess if that's my only mana sink, maybe I can get away with 16. This thing's sort of a mana sink. Wish I had more white creatures to reward me for the Denizen, so this looks a lot worse now, but it's actually necessary in this deck because I just don't have a lot of creatures that I can cut. Let's cut one of the Massive Raids. Maybe we cut one of the aerial maneuvers. And one more cut, probably the Scorchwalker. Alright, so this is 15 creatures, which is like the bare minimum that I like to play, but enough. And then decent amount of finishers. Really, we ended up with some good tricks. This can be a finisher for sure. It's worth a try here. I mean, it was really either the Cyclops or the Commandos. I guess the Commandos do consistently attack with Battalion better than Cyclops, in my opinion. Even though it's 2 less damage, 3 more toughness is pretty strong. But I guess if we're Boros, we're trying to get that damage through, Cyclops makes more sense. I'd kind of like to cut the Scorchwalker, to be honest. So maybe I could put in one more 5-drop, but 4 5-drops feels like a good number. Maybe I do want to get away with 16 lands, so I'll do the 2 aerial maneuvers. Because then that'll work better with the Cyclops. And I really top out at 5. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. How color intensive is this deck? This is 2 white. These are 2 red. It's not too bad. So I have a little more red than white. 9/7. Is it that much more red than white? I mean, I guess it is. I do have this guy for Extort. I do have some 2-drop. I have one 2-drop white creature, but all the rest are red. Yeah, I guess 9/7 makes sense. Okay, so I think I'm going to run it like this. Arguably, I could run a second Massive Raid over the second aerial maneuver. That way I have just more damage to the face potential. That might be better. We have 15 creatures. It's a fair amount. I think we'll try it like this. Maybe I could cut the Edict for the aerial maneuver. Even more tricks. Lowers the mana curve, justifies the 16 lands a little bit better. Edict's clearly better, but aerial maneuver works so well with the Cyclops, I'm kind of tempted to just do that. Alright, let's run it like this.